So you might have noticed that Archnemesis League was insanely profitable early on, and has kind of tapered off a little bit with basically everyone and their grandmother being able to farm infinite amounts of scarabs, the price of smaller currency items essentially plummeting into nothingness, among many other things. Now there are some like big crazy recipes out there that can get you like an Exalt orb every once in a while, and all of that is cool, but to be honest, all of the different pieces that you have to put together to get those huge recipes, in my opinion, really doesn't make them worth it. Now, if you know about the price of scarabs currently, you'll know that there's basically two scarabs that are worth anything at this point. One of those is Harbinger, and the other one is Expedition. And since Expedition is so profitable right now, it would go to say that if you could get Expedition items from Archnemesis, that would probably be making you a lot of money, right? Well, there is a recipe that does get you items from Expedition, and we are gonna go over that in this video. Now remember, if you're enjoying the content or these videos are helping you out, make sure to give them a like. Also, if you wanna stay up to date with all the latest videos, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit that little notification bell so that you get all these videos right in your feed. And without further ado, let's get into the video. So now, if you are more experienced with Archnemesis League and you just want to see, the results and everything, skip forward about a minute or two into the video. I'm going to do the basic explanation of how you actually make recipes in Archnemesis League. So as you go around and you kill different enemies and such, you're going to be picking up these little modifiers. They have a bunch of different names, and with the update that has happened in Archnemesis League, we have this recipe filter here that as you start to, figure these out and start to get the recipes discovered, you'll be able to see exactly what needs to go into them. Now in a zone, all that you'll do is you'll walk up to the Archnemesis tower, pillar, the monster, whatever you want to call it, and you'll put in each of the different ones required for a recipe. So for example, if you wanted to do like say the assassin recipe, you would need to put a Deadeye as well as a vampiric. Now if you want to do two separate recipes in one Archnemesis map, you can do that. You can do 2 and 2, but if you do 3, you can't get another recipe going off of the previous ones that you put in there. However, do note that if you do a 3 recipe, you should probably throw a 4th one in afterwards just for good measure. Now, typically when you are doing Archnemesis League, there are some pretty huge high-end crafts here. Things like Kitava touched, Invulnerable Lunaris touched, Innocence touched, things like this. These are very high-end recipes. However, I do feel that the super high-end recipes tend to not be worth the amount of time that it takes to actually get all the pieces together. So I have been doing a kind of a slight spin on the classic recipe that most people have been talking about. The original recipe was Mirror Image, Treant Horde, Assassin, and then Rejuvenating. Now instead of doing Assassin, because the chance of an Exalt is very low and currency prices are basically bottoming out, I have been doing Temporal Bubble. Now what this is going to give you is it's going to give you Expedition items as well as Heist items. Now the reason that this is so strong is because the actual items that it can drop are things like Astragales and Exotic Coinage, Scrap Metal, and Burial Medallions. Currently, Exotic Coinage are roughly 4 to 5 Chaos each. If you're selling them in large bulk, you could probably get up to 6 Chaos for each of them. And then Burial Medallions are anywhere up to like 9 or 10 if you're selling in bulk. These two are going to be the majority of the profits from this, and you can get like 5 to 10 of these per map. If you do get lucky and get a bunch of Burial Medallions, I mean, you can very easily, with one set of these recipes, make close to 100 Chaos. Compared to, all of the scarabs and such that you normally get and base currency that you normally get, most of the base currency isn't really worth anything anymore. Most scarabs aren't really worth anything anymore. Essences aren't worth anything because everyone is farming them. So this is something that's a little different that might be able to get you a little bit more currency. Now, to give you an example of what this recipe is, we're going to go jump into a map. I'm just going to grab one of the standard maps that I've been farming. So we're going to go ahead and roll this like I normally would. Now, I'll be doing a video talking about my generic Atlas strategy and such in the coming future, but for now, the TLDR is that I'm just running ambush scarabs. Whatever other scarabs are kind of worthwhile, we're doing the Eater of Worlds, which is very important here, and I'll talk about that here in a moment, as well as Domination. Now, I did make a video a couple days ago, which if I remember, I will link up in the top right, about why Domination is so powerful and why you should be taking these nodes on the Atlas and such. But the idea here is that you should be doing Archnemesis content at the very end of your map. And the reason for that is because altars do affect the Archnemesis drops. Now, I know a lot of people have been talking about this, but it is very important, and I probably won't find the altars that I'm looking for. But you should be trying to fish for like scarab and currency duplication altars and be grabbing those before you put in your big boy recipes. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the recipe no matter what, but we're going to at least give it a shot, see what we can farm up. Now, as you can see here, we got additional currency, additional unique item. It doesn't really matter what we click here. We're looking for scarabs dropped by slain enemies have a chance to be duplicated. That is exactly what we're looking for. You want to get as many of those as you possibly can, and another small tip that I would say is that you do want to kill the boss as quickly as you can, because as soon as the boss is dead, you no longer have to worry about getting the boss options when it comes to the altars that do pop up. Now, I would say that for the vast majority of things, the Eater of Worlds is a substantially better altar, just because the amount of them that you get is insane. If you were doing the Searing Exarch and you're just farming random maps, I highly suggest that you change over to Eater of Worlds. It's so big of a difference that I would say I don't even really feel like it's worth farming the Searing Exarch because of how many more altars that you can get from this side. Now, that being said, I'm probably going to skip ahead here to when we do the Archnemesis, but just going to clear the map, try to get as many of these altars as I can, and then I'll see you in a moment. Okay, so we did get 2 options here. Now, I would say since we're doing a big recipe, we are going to take basic currency as duplicated, but chance to drop an additional scarabs actually pretty powerful. If you get a bunch of those, you can get a lot of scarabs per map. Okay, so now we only did get those 2 altars, 1 scarab and 1 currency duplication, so it's not going to be anything too crazy here, but the idea is that we are starting with mirror image because scarabs probably on their own are going to be one of the better ones that we can drop. Now, the reason for this is that rewards are rolled 2 additional times. Choosing the rarest result is really, really powerful. Anytime that you can get rerolls, it is typically quite good. There is some argument that you may be able to do Temporal Bubble first, but I would probably suggest against it. You really do want to get these rerolls started right away. We do the Treant Horde one next because it's just going to add a bunch of extra items that actually drop, since each of the Treant Horde items can drop an additional item. And we're just going to move through here. So the first one doesn't really drop very much at all, but then as soon as you get towards Treant Horde, if you've never seen these drops, it does get quite a bit more. As you can see, there's a lot of scarabs here, and a decent amount of them actually duplicated. But this will continue all through the rest here. We're going to do Temporal Bubble next, and this is where we're going to start getting all of the expedition stuff. So Temporal Bubble puts this like giant temporal bubble essentially, and of course we got one that is just going to roll literally all over the place and prevent me from hitting him because, you know, reasons. If I can move, wow, that action speed slow is actually so annoying. But as you can see, we ended up getting 4 scrap metal, not really worth that much, but we did get a blueprint. So these blueprints can be worth, this is an unusual gems blueprint, and unusual gems is worth like 30 to 40 chaos, depending on what rooms and such that you get on it. You can sell these on TFT and such. These drop quite a bit. We did get a burial medallion, which is worth about 8 to 9 chaos, as I said before. So just on the 3rd set, and we've made probably around 50 chaos, maybe 60 chaos off of this Archnemesis because of that blueprint. And then we still do have one more round that we can do here. So we'll do the last round. This is just going to be rejuvenating, get us one more reroll, and we'll have to deal with the Temporal Bubble once again. And we'll see if we can get another blueprint as well as death because I'm being poisoned. All right, I cut all the way to the end here because honestly, this is one of the most frustrating mobs I've ever fought in Archnemesis. Like, hands down, it was easily one of the most frustrating mobs I've ever fought in Archnemesis. The combination of it just running from me constantly on top of everything else. But yeah, we got pretty lucky here with these drops. So, I mean, we got 2 Gilded Expedition Scarabs. You can see all of the contracts and such that we got on top of a bunch of chaos, as well as just a bunch of different things, right? So all in all, this map probably netted us, we can take a look here in a second. That map as a whole, we got 2 blueprints. Enchanted Armaments is not worth as much, unfortunately, so we're not getting as much out of Enchanted Armaments, but an Unusual Gems blueprint is worth quite a bit. We did get a bunch of the good scarabs. We got some scrap metal as well as some burial medallions. We did get a bunch of contracts. These will sell for a couple chaos each if you do sell them in bulk. I'd say we probably made 60, 70, maybe 80 chaos here if everything sells pretty well, because particularly these Gilded Expedition Scarabs are 8 chaos each. And this is kind of an average drop rate that you would get from this. It's just sometimes you get blueprints, sometimes you get a bunch of the expedition currency, and of course you get all of the scarabs and everything that you would from the normal recipe. The main thing that this is trading out is all that chaos. Now, I have never had one of those monsters be as difficult as that one was. It literally took me like 5 minutes of fighting until I finally figured out how to do it. I had to turn off my Righteous Fire because it was like killing me in the temporal bubble. So yeah, don't be like me and look at the actual mob that you're fighting, and don't fight mobs that run away from you constantly and have a really dangerous attack as your 4th Archnemesis mob. It is something that I forget because I don't pay attention. So on top of all of the altars and things that I pressed, it was just a very, very nightmarish mob. And that is going to be it for the video. Now, do better than I did, and don't choose one of those exact Abyss mobs is what I think they are as your final level 4. Choose like a really weak little like humanoid mob or something like that. It'd probably be a lot better than what I did. But as you can see, the currency drops and things that you can get out of this are far superior to a lot of the other recipes that a lot of people have been doing, I feel, since the price of scarabs and such have gone down so much. That's going to be it, boys. If you enjoy the content, make sure that you give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest videos. And if you're interested in seeing this build, I know I've been saying it for a couple days now, but I'm playing it live over on Twitch if you want to come see it live, and I'll have a update video for it soon. Other than that, take care, and I will see you guys in the next video.